Well, hello there. This is another exciting episode of Raising the Cane.
Hello, and happy New
Hello.
Year.
Hello. So call this our New Year's show. First
I
edition.
resolved to be more serious this year and take life more seriously. And
Yeah,
so I'm
well,
going to start off by singing a medley of some of my favorite songs.
I
Oh,
doubt it.
MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E. You could join in at any time. And a oink oink here and a oink oink there. Here,
My voice
oink
is
there,
not
oink
good.
everywhere.
where
Oink, oink.
where is Gene the dancing machine where you need him on the Gong Show? Where do you need him? When you most need him, where is he?
I'm
Gene,
dancing
Gene
now.
the dance machine. Gene, just so for the people that don't know who Gene was, is a African American man who did a little dance when he was about to get you with this big, almost looked like a large candy cane thing, like a little hook, and he would hook you and move you off the stage, saying it's over. Your dreams have been blown up. You will not go further in this competition. So
The Gong Show.
he would literally drag you off with he would take, like, the end of an umbrella, but a large wood. He would take you like a candy cane, just yank you off the stage.
And some people resist it.
Yeah, some people actually like, yeah, I'm not getting off the stage.
Yeah,
They're like,
You can't pull me off.
yeah.
Can't pull me off.
Oh.
Yeah, that was one of the things on the Gong Show.
Yeah. So anyway, well, let's talk about, since we said this is our first show in 2023, New Year's edition. I want to talk about the resolutions themselves, which you were about to rumble into. But people do what they say they're going to do. All the promises, all the declarations. What do you say? Do people have this laundry list and they just check it off like the bucket list, and they actually do all this nice stuff they say they're going to do in the following year?
I
Well,
think it all depends that how big their list or whether, it's realistic. So some people are realistic in their list. And some of them I put a list like, so long that mini, money, more to see which one I'm going to be able to do. But I don't know. What do you think, Maurice? You were going to say something.
Well, mine is short.
Okay.
One is to conquer Liechtenstein. 2 is to open up an alligator farm. And 3 is to smite my enemies.
So you're not going to do any of your thing on your list then, right?
I'm ambitious. I already got started.
Yeah. Okay. So
No,
at any
seriously.
rate,
But seriously. I'm going to I think do more writing. And I'm also going to be more involved with additional community activities. I'm going to actually try to exhibit some more of the cardinal virtues that the church recognizes. And then I'll smite my enemies. So
then you're going to go Old Testament, huh?
Go total Old Testament. It's like
Yeah.
Sodom and Gomorrah, like fire and brimstone. Man, it's like the walls of Jericho falling down. Be like getting after the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites,
The uptights.
the
Oh, my
uptights, and the
goodness.
out of sights. Well, it's isn't it? We never hear people say, "I'm gonna smite you." It seems like a word that has become obsolescent and decrepit. Like when has you told somebody, if you don't come to work earlier, I'm gonna smite you.
Well, it's a threat. You don't threaten people at work. Yeah. I'm
Oh.
gonna smite you. If you don't come tomorrow, I'm gonna smite you.
Well,
Like,
that means they won't come.
You will be
Right.
filing unemployment the next day.
yeah, you'd be
Calling-
filing an unemployment
And
claim.
probably calling the FBI for making terrorist threats.
Definitely.
It's no way you can spin the word smite. I mean
Smite
that's
is
so
so unambiguous.
yeah, smite. You could feel the knife going in. I mean, it's
Yeah.
this smite.
And you can't
It's
and you
so
can't just smite somebody moderately. I say I'm gonna moderately smite you.
Moderately.
yeah. It's a so anyway. Sandra, what are some of your resolutions you think?
Well, I think for me, one of my resolutions is for health, get healthier. And that means not just
Good.
food, but just, doing exercise, being outdoors more often, and
Yes.
be more cognizant about the temptations that are out there, and especially the TV. I mean, TV right now is just feeding people, not just kids, from, they're little, of the wrong things to eat. So I think that more cognizant about all of those influences out there that are there to get you. They're not doing any good to you for your health. I think as you age, you start being more cognizant about the things that you're putting in. So, basically that's what it is. And bringing that awareness to the loved ones, to my loved ones. Um, the other thing is to invest a little bit more, have more investment money towards that, saving for trips. I would love to travel.
Yes.
And I think that those are more the main ones. There's other little things here and there for the house, things that I want to do, but those are my personal goals for the house. But for me, those are the ones.
You should make Michael do more chores. That would be
Yes,
a good
yes,
a good
that's a good
resolution.
one. Yeah, exactly.
We
Yes.
should impose resolutions on people.
I'm
You know,
gonna keep one in mind.
I'm gonna make sure Zeta gets a hold of this video so
I'm
you
gonna
can
smite
say
you.
the hypocrisy of it all. The
Ac-
hypocrisy. So
Actually,
you're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite.
I had to smile. Actually, it's funny you say that because before prematurely cluing into I guess the pre-party for Raising the Cane, as you guys were speaking before I checked in, I was doing some manual labor.
That's good. And
I
I
was
think
pulling,
that's what is good about couples. You have to share the wealth, not just in traveling and eating out, but also chores is very important for the sanity, health, and for a good relationship between you and your spouse.
absolutely.
Right,
And,
Michael?
my love
Yeah.
language, as you know, my love language is universal sacrifice.
Yes.
And Michael knows this from when we were kids. Because I always sacrificed to make sure that his life was a better one.
No, you sacrificed me for your enjoyment.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, that was sacrifice, but
it was
I was
like
part of the
Aztec
sacrifice.
sacrifice.
I was part of the get up on the altar and lay down. That's what I was. Yeah,
Did you ever see Apocalypto?
yeah. I'm gonna show Sandra. We can see Mel Gibson's Apocalypto. It's with the ancient tribes fighting each other to the death, trying to take over their conquest, and forget the Spaniards or anyone else. They're just cutting each other up.
That was our
Which
childhood.
yeah. So,
Which
but we'll
remind
see.
me that about that cutting people's each other up. I think one of the good resolutions will be to be a better human being, be cognizant about your actions, and make sure that what you wish that you do first before you expect others. Love yourself first more and love others. I think that people are losing that part. And that's what I think that I want to do. For me, is to be more cognizant about the things that I want to project and do, so others will see me, be an example, basically.
I agree with that.
It's good, a role model, inadvertent role model.
Can I read this article now about the death penalty?
Okay,
Okay,
All right,
let's do it.
you may speak.
thank you. All right, this is Dateline, Texas. And I'm reading directly from the Associated Press blurb in the San Gabriel Valley Tribune, dated Wednesday, January 11th, 2023.
Okay,
Ex-officer who hired two people to kill wife is executed. Dateline, Huntsville, Texas. A former suburban Houston police officer was executed Tuesday for hiring two people to kill his estranged wife nearly 30 years ago amid a contentious divorce and custody battle. Robert Fratta, Fratta, 65, received a lethal injection at the state penitentiary in Huntsville for the November 1994 fatal shooting of his wife, Farah, Farah, which means that when they were married, she was Farah Fratta. I'm added that part. He was pronounced dead at 7:49 p.m., 24 hours after the lethal dose of the powerful sedative pentobarbital began flowing into his arms. Prosecutors say Fratta organized a murder for hire plot in which a middleman, Joseph Prystash, hired the shooter, Howard Guidry. Farah Fratta, 33, was shot twice in the head in her home's garage in the Houston suburb of Atascocita. Robert Fratta had long claimed he was innocent. Fratta was first sentenced to death in 1996, but his conviction was overturned. He was retried and resentenced to death in 2009.
Wow.
okay, I was discussing this with Sandra a little while ago today, because I read it the other day, and I saw his two co-conspirators, they got death row as well. I thought that was strange, because usually there's an odd man out, meaning the one that turns against the others. Well, they all got a sentence to the death penalty. I think the other two as well. So the middleman and the shooter. So that means they had so much evidence on them, they didn't need any plea bargain by anyone.
Yeah,
That's what it means to me. So
That's horrible.
and
it
it's
is
just,
horrible.
you know what, despite whatever's going on in your marriage, want to hit on domestic violence and crime in general, but you know, it's called divorce, and if it gets that heated, you know, was it worth it? You got to ask yourself, you spend all these years in prison, you miss out on your life, and then for what? You know, obviously everyone thinks they're going to get away with it. That's why they do it. But it's just unfortunate it had to go there. Even if the other person was malevolent or inappropriate, it doesn't give you a right to kill somebody.
Absolutely.
It's just no excuse unless you're defending yourself.
Right.
Yesterday I watched this case where the male was the victim.
Oh,
The
that's interesting.
the female was in drugs, and she was an I believe she was in the Navy, ex-military, and apparently she started having issues with health, and she started with the narcotics, taking medication for pain and blah blah blah, and then he moved into others. And whenever she didn't have the drug, she will get so hysteric and violent. And the husband put a video camera in the living room or wherever they would always be, and he videotaped even when he killed her.
Wow.
He ended up killing her.
Wow.
It looks that even when she was getting bad and telling him that if he does anything, she was gonna kill herself or she was
Uh-huh.
gonna kill the baby.
Man.
End up being their baby. So he says that he didn't even want to move, do anything because he was afraid that she was gonna kill him. So finally, the final incident, he grabs the kid. She was like threatening, "I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. If you do anything stupid, I'm gonna kill you." And she grabs the baby. She's getting ready, and you see in the camera how he puts the gun in his pocket, and she kind of got a little bit violent, and he went ahead and just grabbed his pocket and shoot her 3 times. And then he started calling the police, and so he says that even though he was tall, you can see he was a big man compared to her, but he was in such a terror for his life and the kid. The baby was 2 years old. So anyway,
Oh,
he claims he was sentenced, by the way, 15 years in prison, even though he had videotapes. You could see that
Yeah.
her with
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
interesting.
But I saw part of it, and you know what? I saw what Sandra was saying, his size and her size. And even though I didn't see the final incident, I'm thinking, he shot her 3 times, really? This small woman, did she pose an immediate? That I think my understanding, Maurice, you're the attorney, why he got sentenced, because from what I could tell from what he said, I didn't need to watch the video, there was no absolute immediate threat when he shot her. There was the word immediate was missing.
And and now, yeah, and you could be in reasonable fear for your life,
Yeah,
but generally speaking, you're supposed to only administer or utilize such force as is necessary to subdue the threat. Now, sometimes deadly force may be appropriate in matters of self-defense, but there's a reasonableness component to it.
Mhm.
And that if someone is just tickling you or pinching you, that's battery if it's undesired and you have communicated that to the person. But generally speaking, someone pinching or tickling you isn't lethal, and it's not particularly injurious, it's just annoying. So if you were to just like stab somebody in the head for doing that to you, that would be unreasonable, even if you're responding to what would be accurately described as at least a battery, and
Mhm.
possibly assault and battery if someone is saying, I'm going to keep tickling you until
Mhm.
you submit.
Mhm.
Now, if you throw in additional facts, I mean, that could change the equation. But let's say in this particular instance, sticking with the scenario here, if he could have perhaps subdued her short of even a single gunshot,
yeah.
then,
And
you
yeah.
know,
And you know what, Maurice, and I thought about another thing, is that the biggest thing, his biggest mistake, and this has probably helped convict him, you should have left the house, dude. You
and taking the baby with
and
him.
taking the baby with you. She did not stop you from taking the baby every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You could have left, and she would be alive. They would have their mother. Should have walked out the dang house
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
left.
If you
That's what
could
you
do
did.
something, yeah, if you could do something that is short of a homicide,
Mhm.
Yeah.
even against an aggressor, then you're obligated to do so. Now, certain states like Florida have stand your ground, and king of the castle as additional defenses. Um, but in a situation like this, you're both entitled. Well, were they divorced or were they
No, they
just
were still
estranged?
married.
They're
Mhm.
still married. So both of
Yeah.
them are equally entitled to be in the marital home. And it seems to me, if he were more rational, and foresaw his eventual uh, entanglement in the criminal justice system, he should have, as Michael indicated, just taken the toddler and walked out and stayed away for a period of time until she obtained detox or counseling or therapy,
Right.
or actually had some kind of mid-year New Year's resolution where I'm going to
Mhm.
resolve to cleanse my body of these
Mhm.
impurities. I'm going to combat this addiction. I'm going to be the mother and wife that my family deserves, and perhaps even better niece and daughter and cousin and coworker, whatever types of other relationships she has. Because I think when you're uh, confronted with and you're consumed by addictions,
Mhm.
that can really override your rationality and your conscience and a sense of morality. I mean, everything you do is oriented around obtaining that high, and it
Right.
might be cocaine, it might
Mhm.
be alcohol, it might be some other substance, it might even be certain types of behaviors like gambling, for example. Like I was just hearing today that a former Louisiana state senator, um, uh, Peterson, who is she is the daughter of this noteworthy attorney in the state of Louisiana. She was just convicted and will have to serve some time for taking money from the Louisiana Democratic Party and from her own campaign resources so she could gamble.
Oh my goodness.
And so she was
Oh,
convicted of
man.
wire fraud because she was like, she
Mm.
took $140,000 to go to casinos, presumably in the state of
Wow.
Louisiana, which, as we know, has the steamboats and other means
Mm.
by which you can part from your money.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
you know, and so that's an example of another kind of addiction. I think people sometimes they get that high from it, that sense of dopamine and adrenaline and that
Mhm.
excitement from wagering. And if they win, they want to keep winning, and if they lose, they want to reverse it, and they keep betting more.
Yeah.
You know.
You know what, and with that case, to top it off, a man went into this guy's before the trial, and he says, by the way, he says, I just want to let you know that that kid is not your son, is my son.
Oh,
and
oh,
and he did it, all of that
wow.
to save him. So but anyway, so the attorney decides to do a blood test to see if in fact he is the dad,
Yeah.
and he's not. After the
Oh,
test, he
wow.
gave, so that's a
That's
tragedy. But
interesting.
anyway, yeah, that was, but
Mm.
he says that he still loves the kid and he
Mm.
wishes
Man.
to. But
Wow.
there's a
Wow.
lot of in law enforcement that you could see also in the cases that you mentioned, where the police, or they use their means or their knowledge to be, bullies out there. I know a case, particularly in my family, my son, of this police. Well, I believe he's a sheriff, and the daughter works with my son. My son is the manager, and the daughter was mentioned to them that the dad is a very abusive, erratic behavior. She doesn't want him around, and that she was letting them know that if in case the dad appears to the job, which is this is like a banquet place where
Well,
they,
yes.
Mhm.
so so anyway, we came in with the attitude, what behavior was horrible. And now when he was asked to leave, he was, abrupt. And now the man is pressing charges against my son, saying that my son is the one that, well, first he was threatening to my son to say not to put a complaint.
Yeah.
because his job is in jeopardy. So he was threatening my son, so he will not press,
Yeah.
continue with the investigation. If not, he was going to press charges against him. And then my son was, he's young, he's a young individual. He was a young manager, but just to let you know how there's also people out there that they're utilizing their knowledge or their power per se to be evil to other
Yes.
people, because that's what it is. Look at this,
That's evil.
police, that's being evil.
Very evil.
So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, so there's a lot of bad seeds. This is not indictment on all the police. We already been over the last few years with all the killings, unjustified killings by police officers and other criminal activities by police officers. They're basically rogue police officers. So in this case, it's called, the color of authority.
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's no place in civilized societies for these kind of officers or people.
No,
And, you could barely call them human beings. Where
you
they
have to
take
condemn their
advantage of
behavior.
people. Yeah, because these are people that through taxpayer money funds that they walk around with guns and weapons and authority to arrest you, to hurt you, to the ultimate, commit murder, and get away with
Yeah.
it. And
Exactly.
up until they got away with
Yeah.
it mostly up until the last 5 or 10 years. So
Yeah.
Rodney King aside, just the last few years, the judicial system has taken it serious now to prosecute and convict these inhuman people that call themselves police officers.
And they're
Remember-
and
Yeah.
they're supposed to be hired, or their job is to protect. Isn't
Right.
it? That's the whole reason for them
Yeah,
to
they have a higher
exist.
degree of responsibility. Yeah.
Exactly. But what they're doing is using that to ruin other people's life. I cannot
Yeah.
believe in this situation that the man is lying just because of their ego, their violence behavior, that
Yeah.
cannot see himself being asked to leave a place, and that they were not allowed. He's not allowed to go back to it. So that's his ego. So people are so egotistic that
That's
they
right.
forget about what their role is to protect others.
Something that's so true. And, in fact, late last year, 2022, not that long ago, remember the fatal shooting of the 3 people in Riverside?
Mhm. Yes.
And it was a police officer from Virginia who had catfished the young teen girl who lived with her mother and grandparents, pretending to be himself a teenager.
Mhm.
And he
Oh my
drove
gosh.
from Virginia to Southern California to abduct her, murder her mother and grandparents, and attempted to set the home on fire. And then he was shot fatally by law enforcement on the 15 freeway.
My gosh.
And there were red flags that were apparently ignored. He had worked for more than one agency in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And he had a history of mental instability and violent threats.
Man.
Which it seems to me ought to have been considered as disqualifying for someone who was given the authority of wielding lethal force, of
Mhm.
having a badge and uniform and all the other resources that customarily are given to police, because obviously if you're decent and you're interested in fighting criminals and of protecting the innocent, to protect and to serve, which is the motto of many law enforcement agencies, you need to have certain tools and instrumentalities in order to perform your job
Mhm, mhm,
appropriately.
mhm.
But it seems to me when you have consequences like this, you know, talking about your son, talking about other victims of brutality, that you need safeguards that are even more important than hiring somebody. And I'm not diminishing other occupations and trades, so I'm not trying to create some kind of social or cultural warfare here, but more important than, let's say, hiring somebody to work at a Circle K or someone who is uh doing some landscaping even. I mean, obviously you don't want some serial killer doing your lawns, but you
Mhm.
know, when you the nature of the job allows for you to uh actually kill someone,
Mhm.
then the precautions and the safeguards have to be more stringent.
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah, wow. It's unfortunate. And the move beyond police officers to just crime. I've been noticing a lot of domestic violence where the one of the parents, it could be the father or the mother killing the other spouse and the children. It's been like every week I've been seeing it in the news. And so
Yes,
yeah, and I don't know. Obviously people are stressed and feel hopeless, and uh where they have to remove themselves and their immediate family members from this world, I guess, for whatever reason. But that said, a lot of times there are signs before it gets to that, persons acting irrational, um, saying inappropriate statements or behavior and stuff like that. And obviously, if it's your loved one, you're not going to just call the police or seek to put them in some institution or institutionalize them just because they're having a bad week or a month. Because
right.
half of us would be in there, I guess, if that was the case.
I'd be there
But
all day.
yeah, so, but
I think that it have to be a lot of discipline. Nowadays, I think that as parents, we're becoming too lax into the way that we pamper kids too much, in my
That's true.
opinion.
That's true.
And we give them everything like in a platter. And instead of making them responsible to fish for themselves, to be able to be cognizant about other people,
I agree.
especially when you're in a community or in a home, you need to make sure that they're cognizant about others. They have to feel some sort of courtesy and compassion and a sense of community, but that is being lost. And
That is
therefore, we're creating selfish individuals that the only thing they see is themselves. And therefore, because they're not getting what they want, then they become like, oh, the world is so mean. The world, I don't fit in here. I mean, me is all about me, 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 me. When in
true.
fact, I remember I grew up, I didn't have a phone. I didn't have, I mean, the autonomy to say at what time. I was 20 something years old and I was being told, because I was still at home, that my parents' home, they were the ones that were in charge. Well, I lived in there. I didn't have a key of the house. I had to be there a certain hour. I have to be calling to checking in because remember, I didn't have a phone. So wherever I go, I will have to go and tell, oh,
Oh
mom,
yeah.
dad, I'm okay. Okay, I'm here, blah, blah, blah. So they will know. So there were certain expectations, but also I had to earn my stuff in order. And you know what happens when you earn the things that you have, you value them more.
Yeah, you do.
when they're not given to you so freely, you know, you don't value it because you don't know how much it costs. You know that you went to work for many hours to get that phone that you wanted. So we emphasize a lot of things in the outside instead of building our kids from their inside, their inner stability, their self-esteem, their value themselves. I was reading a book from this Reverend Jose Varela. It's a priest that he's practice exorcism. One of the things that he says is about the mental instability in most of people is what happens for them to become possessed when you go into this in the religious situation that it says. And one of the things that it says, the main thing is that they don't value themselves in the connection that they have with them and with the creation, the creator, which is God, what we call it God.
Yeah.
So when you don't build that, they leave room in their subconscious to be a victim for other things from the outside world. And it creates a disconnection. So, but anyway, I'm going towards too much into that, but just to say, to add into that we really need as a society, now that you are listening to this podcast, emphasize in creating our future generations to be self-sufficient, to be to value themselves, to know that they're valuable, that nothing in this world is made by just a coincidence. You have
That's
a
right.
value. You came here to do something. You have within you something, that a seed that needs to grow and flourish for the world, to be at service of others, not to be at service of you.
I agree with that 100%.
Yes.
That's
So-
an important message. I think at any time, and it cannot be emphasized enough, Sandra. So that was a very
Yeah.
important point. And when you consider that this is still an early segment of this fledgling year of 2023, that there's so much that we can accomplish in the
Yes.
next 11 and a half plus months, so that this year becomes one of triumph and community and betterment, not only of ourselves, but those within our orbit,
Mhm.
such as our kith and kin and colleagues, our neighbors, our
And
partners across the spectrum.
Mhm.
And you know, it's always interesting that there are moments where you can connect even with strangers on a positive note.
yeah.
Like I remember late last year, stopped at Yum Yum Donuts on a Sunday.
Let me
And
guess, you got a donut.
I got like a dozen donuts, by the way. Thank you.
I figured you did. I was being polite.
I saved one for you. It's petrified now, but
He loves
you, I could, because he didn't develop that way without eating any donuts. Let me tell you.
Mm.
I put my head on the Bible. And so I'm waiting in line, and there's a fellow who's there, and he's talking to his wife, you know, and he's talking about, you know, they really need to maybe have more than one person working, because they had one lady, she was doing the baking, she was taking the orders, she was filling the boxes. He said, and you know, so when he said that, I said, you know, you're 100% correct. And you know, I eavesdrop, I have to admit it. And, and he and I just started talking about, how places they don't have enough workers. And, I've always been the case of, I won't name names. I'll just give initials, CVS. And I don't want to get in trouble with the legal system. But, CVS, they don't bring up a second cashier until the line is at least 75 people long, and then they put in all these self-help kiosks and say, something, I don't work for you. You bring up my food and my other merchandise and give me a bag. Like you buy like $200 worth of objects, it could be cans, bags. And they say, do you want a bag? No, I'm a master juggler. I could juggle 200 discrete objects all the way to my car. Yeah, of course I want a bag. Damn it. And it's like in Barnes and Noble, I buy all these books and they say, and you have to buy a bag. It's 10 cents. Like, I got $100 worth of books here. Yeah, I think I can afford the 10 cents. It's all on a credit card anyway. So
I don't get offended anymore. Well, sometimes it depends on how they say it, but I just accept our fate now that we're in a new sign of the times, and just 10 cents for the bag. Yeah, it is ridiculous when you're buying a bunch of things and they ask it just like, are you going to escort me with this stuff to my car or in our hands, or but just try not to beat up the underpaid cashier or front person.
Oh, no, but something, but it just amazes me that you've already tallied up triple figures. And
well, you're saying a bag should automatically be included after a certain dollar amount.
The way
that's basically,
in the past, you just get a bag even if you're buying a Snickers bar. They just automatically gave you a bag.
But because remember, we vote for those bags to be a 10 cent because they're supposed to be to recycle. But like the truth is nobody's recycling. I mean, they're going in the trash. So that was the whole point of it. I thought that's what they were doing.
Not to go into landfills and
and
so, but
it didn't do anything. The whole thing, it was just to create more money for the owners of the store.
Well, I think it's really the state, isn't it, Maurice? It goes to the state. Yeah. It's a state thing. The stores don't keep it.
Oh, really? It's the state?
Yeah,
the state. It goes to a fund for the state is what we voted for. The supermarkets didn't want to do it because they don't keep the money. They, hell, they were giving out bags anyway. So
they were giving it free.
Yeah.
Right. So now they have to track it, but now they have to track it and do a report and send the money to the government. That's my understanding. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
it's another layer of bureaucracy. Yeah.
It really is. I want to bring, in fact, my fifth New Year's resolution, bring down bureaucracy after eating better, exercising more, smiting my enemy, bring down the bureaucracy. I was in a deposition most of the day. And, I stepped out after 7.5 hours of arguing with other lawyers to stretch my legs. So I went over to a nearby coffee shop. And, I was also trying to get some distance and steps on my Fitbit. Thank both of you for my birthday present from last year. And so I took the long way around to the coffee shop. And unfortunately, this woman beat me to the punch. And I knew that she was going to be trouble because she was wearing bright red pajamas at 3:30 in the afternoon. And she was already having this prolonged conversation with the fellow behind the counter, a very patient young man, by the way. And so I got in there and she's like asking him about the particular subspecies of Simsilla plant that they use for the tea that they serve here at this little coffee shop. And Simsilla, of course,
Mm.
is the plant that gives us tea. And she was asking him, well, what percentages of oolong, green, and black tea do you have in your tea, in the teas that you serve? And he said, it depends upon which one that you order. We have a wide variety of beverages, including coffees and kombuchas, which is why I was standing in line to get
That
my,
was a good that was a good answer. That was a good
Yeah.
answer.
yeah. And, but did she stop there? No, she was,
Oh my
she had the menu and she was like reading from and asking him like all the ingredients. And then she was pointing to the items in the display cases, like the s'more cookies, which by the way are good. And she asked them, well, do they taste like the s'mores that you make when you are doing, a family gathering, in Huntington Beach or at a fire pit at your house? And he said,
Oh
yes,
my
ma'am,
gosh.
these are delicious s'mores. And I took him at his word. And I would have said amen because I had direct experience on the subject. And but she didn't stop. And I'm standing in line. I just want to get a kombucha
Oh
and a
my
sugar
goodness.
cookie. I'm not off work. I got to go back to the office.
Right.
It's if I didn't have anywhere to go, I'm kind of chillaxing because I've been in a depot for 7.5 hours. But at some point, people will miss me, and they ask, "Where's Maurice? Where did he go?"
Yes,
It's not
exactly.
it's not the end of the day.
Well, I guess the next time you better discount your Fitbit and just go to and get your kombucha and
I need to walk a straight line. And the only thing
yeah.
that enabled me to order my kombucha and cookie was that after she finished interrogating him, she said, "Hey, can I use your restroom?" So I used that as my opportunity to make my order and get the hell out of Dodge. And I gave him $1 tip too.
Oh my gosh.
I worked fast food and I worked on the counters for several years in my younger life. And, I have to say, I can't stand certain people,
Yeah.
customers that
Oh
just go
yeah.
on. And I see it as a customer myself. And it's like, my God, when you get on a spaceship and leave Earth,
I know. Don't you want to smite them?
Yeah, I do want to smite them.
And,
It
and,
just,
and some of
yeah,
them, they
I
just
do.
go to complain.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
whatever you get, there's something wrong with it just so they can get a free one.
Yeah, I remember.
Something? I
Go ahead.
worked for this lady lawyer. I won't mention her name. Initials are AM though, and in Koreatown, and she couldn't go anywhere. We would take clients or prospective clients to fancy lunches, by the way, and she always had to order something that was not really on the expensive menu. And when they brought it to her table, our table, it was never satisfactory. And it would always be something
Something's wrong.
something is wrong.
Mhm.
And either it has too much turmeric and it doesn't have enough turmeric. Where's the chives? Where's the arugula? Where's the curry? Where's the ramen? The
Frustrating.
the complaints vary depending upon the particular culture and cuisine of the cafe, bistro, or other eatery. But there was always complaints and always special demands, and I always felt some degree of derivative embarrassment because I was kind of part of this circus of evil.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
I was thinking of when Martians attacked those zappers. God, I wish it had a zapper, to just disintegrate someone. I know. Oh, we're talking violent now, but we're talking animated violence.
Raising the cane.
Raising the cane. We're talking cartoon land violence. Okay.
Well, and
but,
isn't that acceptable? Cartoon land
yeah.
violence.
Yeah.
Oh
Just
my
I mean,
gosh.
zap.
I
You know,
know.
Wouldn't it be nice to be a cartoon because you're indestructible?
Yeah. The problem is the person you zap it is indestructible too to come and haunt you later.
That's
So
true.
That's
that's
that's the
That's
problem
the
with
problem.
that. That's the
It's a two-way
problem
street.
with. Yeah, they come
Yeah.
back too. Yeah,
That's like
it's cartoons. Yeah,
in a world of superpowers, you wouldn't be unique.
but I think you would be satisfied and get out of your system that you zap someone.
I think
I
so.
think be like, damn, I
You
met my
guys.
New Year's resolution.
It would be kind
Met
of
my New Year's
cathartic.
resolution.
Yeah, it's kind of like, when I was doing reflexology more often back in the day, in the
Uh-huh.
mid 90s, basically Clinton era.
Mhm.
One of the selling points is that, you're unleashing and you're releasing all these toxins
Toxins,
in
right?
your body. And, I guess the lady's last name was Castro, not related to the infamous brothers Fidel and
In Cuba.
in Cuba.
Mhm.
But she talked about the chakras and talking about the different metaphysical aspects. And I always felt though restored and rejuvenated
Mhm.
from it. And it was like, she did not only the feet, which is obviously customary with reflexology, but
Right.
also the hands and the wrists. And she
Mhm.
even had this thing with the earlobes, like I'm
Right.
doing. And it
Yeah.
was so remarkable that I ended up getting a reflexology book for our father, and he
Mhm.
Oh
enjoyed that.
yeah, I
And he
remember
enjoyed it
that.
himself.
I
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah,
Yeah, I got in that too. Yeah, we got. Yeah, that gave me some interest there. Yeah.
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 There's a lot of stuff out there that's so
Oh,
interesting.
yes.
Yeah,
You know,
And that works.
it
yeah, I
works.
got in. Yeah, there's always iridology too,
Oh yeah,
and got into that where the eyes can tell you what's wrong with the body,
Mhm.
yes.
and even got an equipment that looked like a microscope that takes photos of your eyes and all that stuff. So
Mhm.
That's
there's some
interesting.
merit. There's some merit to acupressure, acupuncture.
Oh yeah,
It's some
yeah.
merit to it,
Remember
and
our mother did puncture.
puncture. She didn't believe in the
Yeah.
other stuff. She thought it was hocus pocus. All the other stuff we talked about. She
I
just
love
refused.
acupuncture.
Yeah,
And as a matter of
yeah,
fact, I'm
yeah.
taking right now a course and to remove pain through your hands, because this Korean doctor believes that all of the parts of your body are in your hand as well.
Interesting.
So it is very interesting, and I use it with my mom. However, the instructor says that once you find the point of pain, because like for instance, when you're going to be doing the knee, my mother had a pain in the knee. So I found that in the finger that you're supposed to tap and see where the pain is, and where is the most pain. You go to the most painful,
Uh-huh.
and you have to press it to the point, and people sometimes they cannot stand the pain so hard. My mother did the same thing. She was like, no, 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 I can't stand it anymore. But you
Oh,
know what? Once you do it, and you have to do it, press it for 5 minutes, uh, the pain went away. It's
really?
that just incredible. But because blood pressure, so her blood pressure went up a little bit. So you have to be cognizant about other issues too with the
Yeah,
person. But
yeah. Just in case, the other effects that might
the
have.
other may have because of the pain, but it took it away.
That's good.
So
That's good.
all of that it's excellent. It's something that can resolve issues, because of your body is also electrical, is with your
Yes, it is.
nervous
Yes, it
system.
is.
Mhm. Anyway,
Hey,
Okay,
there's
we
something
got
else
we
I want
got
to
it.
mention.
What?
uh-huh.
What?
Okay, because I was reading the newspaper, so um, and this is also from the Associated Press. Because there's this new 988 mental health helpline, and the reason I bring it up is kind of like we've been talking about, physical and mental
Mhm,
well-being.
mhm.
So I think this is kind of interesting. It says, with bipartisan congressional support and just under $1 billion in federal funds, The 988 mental health helpline has quickly expanded its reach in the 6 months since it launched, raking in over 2 million calls, texts, and chat messages. The number of centers answering calls in Spanish grew from 3 to 7 last year. A pilot line dedicated to LGBTQ youth started taking calls in September, and plans are underway to keep the momentum going, with the federal government adding Spanish language chat and text options later this year and aiming to expand those services to a 24/7 operation for the LGBTQ line. When the around-the-clock phone launched last summer, it built on the existing network that staffed the old national line, lifeline, 1-800-273-8255. The new 988 number is designed to be as easy to remember as 911. It couldn't have come at a more needed time. Depression rates in US adults, overdose deaths, and suicide rates have been on the rise. And that's from the Associated Press.
Wow.
Oh, 988. That's a good resource for our listeners and
Yes,
watchers.
That's right.
988. So if you are having issues, depression or whatever it is, addiction or domestic violence, there's, you know,
Mhm.
there's resources out there that you can, you know, receive and request, and we encourage that here on Raising a Cane. So take care of yourself. We're just more than a body. We're a spirit.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
our
absolutely.
belief. Regardless of your belief, we don't believe we're just bones and blood and skin and flesh with no other aspect
Yes.
of us. So but whatever your belief system, the point is you're here on this earth now, get some help if that's what you need.
That's right.
Right.
So
Right.
I had to seek assistance too, and nothing to be ashamed from.
That's right.
Nothing to be ashamed.
That's right.
Yes.
So if your company has an employee assistance program that they usually cover some of the first visits, then utilize those resources so you can get assistance, because life can be challenging. Money problems, health problems, relational problems.
Yes.
And so take care of you.
That's right.
Exactly.
Got to take care of you. You think you're taking care of somebody else. If you go, who's going to take care of the people you're taking care of? A lot
Exactly.
of people don't think this way.
It's
And it's
true.
so tragic. I've been reading where the caregivers died prematurely. It was preventable if they got some kind of assistance. They're gone. And now you have a lot of the aftermath is kids without parents
That's
and
right.
and elderly parents without their adult children to help them.
Yeah.
So suicide is it's a tough one. So we don't feel that your hope is or the sun doesn't shine. It does shine. It's just cloudy right now. It's just raining a little bit on you, but it will. What do they say? This too shall pass.
That's right.
So
Exactly.
there's a way out, and if you make
Mhm.
a mistake, it's not the end of the world. But do avoid to do what you can to put yourself on the right path. So I'm glad we talked about the health aspects of this thing called living on earth. So
Definitely.
That's
healing,
right.
healing, health, preventiveness, and stuff like that. And so my New Year's resolution is to get healthier, to get healthy and be healthier and maintain it and exercise and to not on a psychological point, not to get so stressed out and think, Chicken Little, the world's going in, right? It's not.
Yeah.
And I remember a particularly hellish year for me was 2014, I was hellish, partially because I allowed part of it to be hellish, and that was within my control. And then the other part out of my control, other folks that with their daggers, there's daggers out there, folks. So there's
And
always
it's
people,
reality.
yeah, there's
That's
always
right.
people jealous of you. They're envious of you.
Mhm.
And a lot of it starts with those folks that are inches from you, not the ones that you have at arm's length. They're the ones that are right around you, right here, your inner circle, right there. Watch a movie, watch a TV show, and who's part of the villain club? It's the best friend, it's the bestie, it's the other person you thought you could trust that you knew for 20 years, 10 years. It's never the stranger or someone that's going, "Ooh." It's never that person.
Yeah, it's like Patrick Swayze's best friend in Ghost.
Right. Yeah. So that's a good example. And I'm not saying to be suspicious of all your friends, but you know what? Look at the actions of people and
Exactly.
forget what the relationship is. What are they doing and saying to you? What are they doing?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
and when they say, "Oh, I didn't mean anything," yes, you did.
that's right.
I didn't mean to
That's
hurt
right.
you. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
That's right. It was intentional.
Intentional.
But just remember, I think that we also have to remember that everyone has their own growth, and people tend to envy those qualities because they wish to have them for themselves and they
Yeah.
don't know how to get them. So they envy that. Now, good envy is when you talk about it and say, can you help me to get those qualities that you have in order for me to achieve my goal, which is this. If people were to talk, to be able to say it, but that's the problem, that people are mischievous. They don't say it. They don't
Some
talk
people
about it.
Yeah, some people are just evil.
And
I'm just
yeah, so you have to
so,
be aware
yeah.
of those evil people and stay away from them.
Mhm.
That's not to be mean, is to for you to be safe, because
Exactly.
in order for you to be healthy, not only physically, you have to also be healthy mentally and spiritual. So in order for your whole three, the three beings, the three of creation, your physical, mental, and spiritual. So if those people are bringing you down and they're not helping you to lift you up and instead bringing you down, you know what? Decapitate them. I don't mean it literally.
Oh yeah.
You heard that?
It's
You
on
heard
the
that?
stage.
Raise
It's
the
on the
cane,
stage.
decapitate them.
No,
You heard that?
no.
There's
Hello?
no way to spend it. Decapitate.
If you see something,
Whoosh.
say something.
No,
Decapitate.
meaning, okay,
Uh-oh.
let me clean it up.
Let me do
Uh-oh.
a disclaimer. Us at Raising the Cane do not condone violence.
We do not.
The
We have-
words you hear on this show are not condoned by the
What?
unless it's to
What?
smite our enemies.
What I mean is you need to remove them from yourself, from your surroundings.
That's
I
right.
mean, you just no, they're not
you will
allowed.
you will be removed once you get decapitated.
You can't walk around without a head. You
You'll
can't
be,
walk around without a
you'll be
head.
removed. Yeah, I
That-
promise you. Once you're
Permanently.
decapitated, you are out of the picture.
That's like
You're out
No,
of the picture.
extreme
I
prejudice.
have to admit that's the wrong
So-
word, but I mean,
So all
you
you
have
evil
to
jealous,
be
all you evil jealous people out there, you will be removed.
That's right. Because we know where
No.
you are. If you're,
and no, and seriously,
We know
you
what Sandra
have
meant.
to
We know what Sandra meant.
we know.
you
We know.
have to you have
was-
to ensure that you take care of yourself. And remember, like I mentioned in our podcast that we had the other day, is that when people throw you dirt, just imagine yourself as a seed. What happened to a seed when you throw dirt? It helps you to be stronger, to mature, and to build the tree that is going to one day be, with fruit. So take it like that. When people come to you and throw you dirt, and but friends give you, at least what they love of you, that they dislike you so much. So that's a good thing for you to take. So
Yeah.
they love something about me. So guess what? I'll keep it. You go on your way, find yourself, get yourself better if you try, but remove them. And then you know that that knowledge and whatever they throw you, that's what you're going to utilize for you to become strong. So nothing in this world is for nothing.
I agree.
So the positive thing is in this is for you to recognize what is good for yourself. So one thing to tell to all of those people that are listening to us is, when you feel down, when you feel that the world is all over, don't let yourself down. Don't allow those thoughts, which are, to me, in a spiritual way, is entities of negative nature that are trying to come into your aura to make you believe that you're nothing, which is the opposite, because they see that you have such a strong potential in this life. That's what they attack you. They're
Yes.
not going to attack the same bad asses that they say. I'm sorry, I'm missing a lot of stuff.
Oh,
It's okay. This is
But
not for kids, so
that's right.
it's
He
okay.
should be
It's
asleep.
this episode is tagged not for kids anyway, so it's
so
tagged for adults, so it's okay.
so they're
Um,
not to attack bad people. They're here to attack the good ones, because they know that you're going to be a strong warrior individual that are going to be bringing and uplifting other people to do better. So
Yeah.
that's my message to all of you. Don't reach for help. That is the best thing that you can do. Is if you feel alone, that you don't feel that you don't have hope, that's the sign. You need to go ahead and reach out to someone. There's so many lines available, like Maurice was saying, and
98.
you have someone, and you know, that you may trust, an adult, a person that can listen to you and give you advice. Go for it. Don't feel ashamed, because all of us go through periods of ups and downs. And if we in this podcast are able to help you, let us know. Send us an email, and we'll be glad to assist you in giving you recommendations or any information that we can provide to you. But there's hope. Don't lose hope, please.
Right.
That's right.
And our email, by the way, I want to mention our email address. If you want to email us on any subject or provide recommendations for topics for us to bring up, we're at SOM@raisingthecane.com. That's SOM, M as in Mary, Michael, Moo
Maurice
Maurice.
or Morales.
SOM@raisingthecane.com. SOM@raisingthecane.com. So
And,
go ahead.
and I just want to kind of, a song that kind of encapsulates all we've been talking about.
Do we have to cover our ears now or turn down the
No,
volume?
I'm gonna sing it.
Well, that's what my
Right.
point is.
Are you ready?
No, we're never ready for you.
All right. Well,
Go
all
ahead.
right. Let's follow the path of Dusty's
Dusty's
trail.
trail. I know you were gonna do that,
Oh,
man.
Dusty's trail.
Okay.
Dusty's trail. A stage and a wagon heading west.
Yeah.
Part of a wagon trade lost
Yeah.
from the rest.
Yeah.
Dusty's the reason for their
Oh,
plight.
man.
Thanks
Oh,
to
God, help
Dusty,
me. Help us.
nothing's right.
Oh, yeah.
Only the wagon master's hand keeps them a rolling to the promised land. Oh, the going gets a mighty rough, but they don't seem to mind.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
California, that's the place they must find. Deserts and rocks are in their way, but they won't stop. Come what may, mountains and
Mountains and
hills that they
hilltops.
must
Must
scale.
scale.
But they know they'll make it because they just can't
That's
fail.
it.
I
Fail
should bring my
on
guitar.
On Dusty's
Dusty's
Trail.
trail. Yeah.
You know, Dusty's Trail was a sitcom that was broadcast in 1973. It starred Bob Denver, who you probably know
Did it
from
ever make
Gilligan's Island.
74? I don't even think it made, did it? Stayed
No,
on
I
a
think
couple
it's
years?
one
One year?
one season, one
Yeah,
year.
you know
But
why?
yeah. But you know something? It was a very underappreciated, misunderstood show that had a dynamite
Actually,
theme song, which I
yeah,
just sang.
actually, I liked the show. We were kids, and Bob Denver was great from Gilligan's Island. You
And
know, but
Forrest
you always
Tucker was
want
on that.
Forrest Tucker. I didn't remember that. So I have to look that up. So HR Puffin stuff. Remember HR Puffin stuff? Oh man. I actually watched one last year. I actually saw HR Puffin stuff. Man, I gotta introduce Sandra to this. She was
Oh,
in El
oh yeah, you gotta
Salvador
watch.
at the time.
You
She
gotta
was in
watch
El
that.
Salvador at the time. They
Yeah.
filtered that. They didn't let the people see HR Puffin stuff.
Well, you know,
So,
HR Puffin stuff was probably, I know people like Shakespeare and Spielberg would probably disagree, but it probably was the greatest achievement of the United States.
okay, that's an exaggeration, but yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, but you know what? When I watched it 50 years later, it just wasn't the same. You know, because you're looking through the lens of a child or, you know,
And you had more hair back then.
yes, I did. You did too. Moonshine.
Oh, that's so personal. I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna have to call
You
988
guys.
now.
Yeah,
Call
yeah,
988.
yeah.
I'm depressed.
You have
Okay,
to say
okay.
moonshine was clever.
Well, when we talked about compassion, respect.
Moonshine.
I know. That's why
Yeah.
I was trying to
You
sum
know
it up
what?
with Dusty's Trail.
But you know what? You also want the truth and honesty too, because you don't want someone just faking it and then stab you later either, right? So you want to see the knife coming. You want to see it coming. That's the best way to do
Hopefully
it.
I don't
You
have
gotta
a
see it
knife
coming.
coming my
You
way,
know,
but
coming.
yeah.
But figuratively speaking, when I say that, I know we've been talking about decapitations and violence here, but
Yeah.
we don't mean it literally. We're
Well,
in cartoon
yeah.
land. We're in cartoon land when we talk about these things.
Exactly.
But anyway, hi Sandra.
Hi. I was
You have something to say in your mind? Or you look like you
no,
some
I
thought.
was just
No?
I was just thinking about moving to a different topic.
Okay. So
Okay.
how about
Okay.
let's talk about the weather
Yes, I was
that's been
gonna say
problem
that. Yeah,
throughout the
Sacramento.
country and especially California right now, state of emergency that the
Right.
President Biden has declared on California, all through California, especially the Bay Area, Northern California. Sandra, you have
Yes.
stuff to say with that?
No,
No, that according to the Sacramento City weather, that they're
indicating that they have 17 consecutive days
of rain as of January 11, which is a new record. And they have seen a lot of disasters, a lot of it, a lot of homes
Flood,
flooded.
home,
Yes,
the trees falling down and roads, mudslides, etc.
exactly.
How come none of that ever directly affects the governor though? It's always everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's
well.
in a different, I guess, area.
The governor's never washed away or struck by lightning. Why is that?
Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
God for
Maurice.
us too. We're
Mhm.
okay.
So anyway,
but
yeah.
you
So
were mentioning, Maurice, you were mentioning that how many deaths so far?
Yeah, they were reporting at least 17 in California because of the recent atmospheric river and pineapple express storms that we have been facing. In fact, a sinkhole in Chatsworth
Wow.
swallowed up 2 motor vehicles, and they plunged 15 feet down, and they had to be rescued. And then this
Yeah.
5-year-old boy was swept away from his mother's truck in San Luis Obispo County. And
my
you have had
goodness.
a
You know,
multi-vehicle accident when
yeah.
a eucalyptus tree fell onto a roadway, and some other issues.
Well, yeah, there was a tree that fell on a mobile home that killed a toddler.
Yeah,
That was
terrible.
sad. He was in his home,
That's
Yeah.
and it crushed him. And there's nothing they can do. It was a huge tree.
that's a nightmare.
It's terrible.
And yeah, I remember years ago, I was on Manchester Avenue in Los Angeles, and it was the weather was heavy, like it is, not exactly like it is, but it was bad. And it was a day where it was like kind of clearing. It wasn't raining at that moment, but I was driving where it was a sinkhole. It just collapsed. The street just collapsed,
Wow.
and this car went in. And if I had just left the house maybe 2-3 minutes earlier, man, I would have got caught up
That would have been your
possibly
car.
yeah, it just
Yeah.
went straight. It just to see it, it just totally like just boom. It's like
Yeah.
it was this hole, this crater that just, man, can you imagine? That was something to see.
That
That
was
was
terrible.
just
Yes.
something to see. God help me. And so yeah, it's the weather is funny, and a lot of areas are, they see this kind of inclement weather all the time, but it's in
Mhm.
Southern California especially, you're not used to it, and the
Exactly.
nice sunny places where you essentially have one season,
Yeah.
and essentially, but boy, the rain and the storms, this pounding and the wind, 100 miles an hour wind, and it's
It's
something. So
horrible.
hearts
wanna
go
tell-
out to people that are challenged.
I want to tell those people who keep praying for an end to the drought. Your prayers, it seems to me, are being answered. And I think we need to stop praying for a moment to allow us to kind of absorb some of the water into the aquifers and aqueducts, dams and the dikes, and berms and the gutters, so that we can dry off, because I know there's another storm coming in.
Next week.
Yeah. And I don't know if we can take much more of this water from heaven.
Yes.
Maybe kind of mix it up a little bit. Let's just have a volcanic eruption.
Oh,
Um,
no.
Oh,
just
thank you.
some-
Yeah, true. That it may be in your backyard when you pray for that too. Yeah,
I'm
you
just
say,
saying.
yeah,
mix it
you
up a
talk,
little bit.
yeah.
Oh, please.
Let's have some lava.
Raising
You
the
know-
Cane does not endorse Maurice Kane's viewpoints that there should be an erupting volcano anywhere near it.
No.
It's
Uh-uh.
like us.
Well, how about just Sacramento?
Obviously, he's disturbed now. We need to maybe I need to
Call
silence him right
998.
now.
Call 988.
Maybe I need to just silence you so you could just be they could just watch you.
You need Silence of
let
the
me see.
Lambs.
Man.
Yeah. You've been watching too many horror movies and disaster movies.
No, I've been watching too many presidential speeches.
So at any rate.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's it. This year, hopefully, they keep saying changing the subject into money and in the economy. Keep saying, now I was reading, well, they said now, okay, later this year to 2024, there should be a recession. I'm of the opinion that the worst is probably behind us. If they can stop artificially scaring everybody and making up stuff and manipulating information. I believe, for a lot of people, it's over. Now, for the folks that keep quitting their jobs because they're unhappy, they don't like their jobs, let me tell you something. You got to use common sense and wisdom. If you're single and you don't mind sleeping on a park bench, and even then the police will harass you on that. or sleeping under a tree, then if you got kids and family you have to take care of, then quitting your job
Mhm.
may not be the best answer at this point. We recommend fiscal responsibility, before you leave one job, have another lined up. So my point is, don't be blaming the devil or God on your problems if you keep making dumb decisions. I know
Yeah.
that's tough, but you do whatever you want your life, but you got to have wisdom. And we're in trying times where a lot of companies are saying that, especially the tech companies, going to be laying off thousands of people. And the banks, financial institutions, and other industries are challenged. And obviously with the weather, construction industry halts basically when there's bad weather like this, and others ancillary type occupations that require outside work. So quitting and giving up at this point, do your best not to. Just an opinion, so.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, I took a New Year's resolution not to invest any more money in FTX.
I think you're too late. You better, you better, you should get help from the Bernie Madoff Foundation. So,
They're so nice.
So
They're so
I think
kind.
they can help counsel you. And
The Bernie Madoff Foundation.
yeah,
We're here for you.
fiscal irresponsibility to hell and back. Yes.
Well, I was just looking through the Wall Street Journal, and it says Coinbase, I think one of your favorite companies, Coinbase Global Incorporated, said that it would eliminate around 20% of its staff and enact broad cost cuts, the latest sign of pain in the cryptocurrency industry. Chief Executive Brian Armstrong said in a blog post Tuesday that the crypto exchange will reduce operating expenses by 25% from the previous quarter, including laying off about 950 people. At the end of September, the company had around 4,700 employees, and they said the collapse of rival exchange FTX in November has triggered a fresh round of layoffs across the industry. Crypto leader,
Wow.
in fact, Genesis Global Trading Incorporated eliminated about a third of its staff last week, and crypto exchange Huobi, Huobi, recently said it plans to lay off about a fifth of its staff.
Well, a lot of these companies actually got loans from FTX. Isn't that something?
That's interesting.
They got loans. Yeah, from
Loans from FTX.
Yeah, because he had so much of other people's money, and especially donated to political parties. But it wasn't even his money. I mean, this guy, out of all the defendants, he's the only one that pleaded not guilty. SBF is who I'm referring to. But anyway, back to the situation. Facebook, which is what Meta, they're laying off thousands. Like, I don't know what it was, like 10,000 people or some big amount, whatever it was. And so,
I don't, something, and some of these people, as you know, I turned the other cheek. I even turned 4 if you count my ass. I'm just kidding, not for kids. But the way the Meta and Twitter before Elon Musk takeover were so into censoring certain ideological voices that they disagreed with, and they seem to delight in the unemployment of fellow Americans in other industries, that it almost seems that if it's payback in a certain sense for some of those censorious cancel culture creeps. That's my point of view.
Yeah. So, the prices are still high and ridiculous, inflation and everything. So, and the gas prices are stabilized in the areas that I frequent. You know, when you can get it for just under $4 or just a little over $4, it's better than $5, $6, $7 what it was, but still high, but it doesn't seem to be worsening. So, you know, so we'll see. The jury's still out if there's going to be a worse recession coming, or worse gloom and doom, or this Chicken Little, the apocalypse is coming, the four horsemen.
Well, yeah.
So, well, you know, you have to tell yourself whatever, you got to prepare now and plan, and it's easier said than done, but definitely I wouldn't splurge on a lot of wants. And you know, it's a whole podcast talking about wants versus needs. And if it's in the want category, have a little want, because you can't hoard up all your money and then you die, and then it's, you know, then people fight for it and you don't get to use it. So there's
That's true.
two there's two extremes. You know, people,
Exactly.
you can spend all your money, or you can save all and not do anything and not live life. So have some fun, but don't have too many wants. Get the basic needs, Abraham Maslow's
Oh, yeah.
hierarchy of needs, you know, your
Yeah.
food, shelter, clothes, some level of companionship, whether it's a friend, a family member, you know, but to take care, you know, transportation obviously is a need too. So, and if you can, you know, have an emergency fund. I would say as much as humanly possible, no less than 3 months, but preferably a year. But I know that's easier said than done, but and just don't splurge at this point, especially if you have a instability as far as your job, or major expenses, medical or other things that's happening in your life. So it's not the best time to buy that big boat, or to buy a luxury car, or tie up your money, all of the majority of it. And so try not to preach, but you do whatever you want. But that's
Preach.
why you have some people that, you know, are more challenged because they didn't consider all this. So,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
now you know.
Now you
Now
know.
you know what you didn't know. So, and
You
there's so
go,
much
pal.
on YouTube and Facebook and all these other avenues. You got to know something now. You
Yeah.
know, when
Got
we
to.
grew up, they didn't have cell phones, they didn't have all this technology, the internet, and we still had information because we had to earn our information.
Right.
We
You
had
have
to get on 4 buses, 3 buses to go somewhere to get the information. It wasn't, we didn't have
Yes.
the internet.
You had to go to the
Yes.
library, or
You had to go to, remember, you know
Yes.
what a library is? So if you don't have money for books, you can go to the library, get a library
We
card.
had the
And
Britannic.
yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
you
That's
had
right.
Almanacs and
That's right. Yeah.
so, I mean, so we had to actually earn the information. You guys are just like turn on a cell phone and it's right there. And so
Yeah.
you really have to be hard pressed to be ignorant today. You
But
really,
But
really
many
have
people
to
are
be.
succeeding. They're
Yeah,
succeeding in
I
their
mean,
ignorance.
yeah, you just put in dog. I don't know what a dog is. Put dog in the internet. You get like 30 billion pieces of information on what a dog is and a bunch of pictures of what dogs are. So
That's right.
we didn't
That's a
have
good-
that.
We didn't have that.
So we didn't have that.
That's right.
Yeah.
And yeah, we survived with the Atlas guide to find, you know, you flip through it
Exactly.
and you go.
That's how
Yeah.
we used to travel. I mean, not long ago, I remember we used to go with my sister. What freeway do I take? She was with the map.
Yeah,
Okay,
Thomas
and
Brothers.
yes, there you go.
Yeah, Thomas Brothers Atlas. Yeah, and so we had to do it the old way. So you have the access here to information and data, but you need to vet that out. You know, just don't believe everything on the internet, because we can put anything on the internet. Don't believe it. You know, don't do the, like I said, don't do the stupid. But
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
it's like sounds like a dance. You know, the stupid. Okay, but anyway, you know, if we were famous, all we had to do that and it would spread across the country. You
That's
know,
right.
what's that dude? It's called the stupid.
Well, actually, it's the best version of COVID. It's the best version of COVID, and
Yeah.
it's catchy.
You know, and that's the sad part. That's the sad part in the times we're in now. If we were ultra super uber famous, that would literally catch on. And so, you know, and that you know, be your own person. Just because you see some out there doesn't mean it's good. And then if it's good, it
Exactly.
doesn't mean it's good for you. So, just it's like really, you know. But anyway, that said, we had a great show. We talked about a lot of different things, a lot of different topics, and we can get going, but it's getting late
One more thing.
now. It's getting late for Maurice. He has to go to bed early.
Yeah, I gotta go to bed soon. But I just one more thing.
Yeah.
Okay, Maurice.
Oh,
All
this
right,
is
just one more thing.
28 more minutes when you say that. Okay.
No, barely, not even two.
Okay.
I want to. These are some of tomorrow's national days. So
Okay.
take notes. Kiss a Ginger Day. That's like kiss somebody who's red haired. National
Oh.
Marzipan Day.
Marzipan.
Yeah. National Curried Chicken Day.
Okay.
Mm.
And finally, National Pharmacist Day.
Oh,
Wow.
congratulations to all the people that are listening to us that are
That's right, those-
pharmacists.
Those red-haired pharmacists that love to eat marzipan and curry chicken. Yeah.
Okay.
So this means you're going to CVS and say hello to your pharmacist?
Yeah, and I'll throw red paint on
Mm.
the person's head so they're ginger.
Boy, this has been a violent episode. This
Man.
Yeah, not for kids.
No.
man, not for kids. So I really got to flag this show here. But anyway, we better stop while we're ahead. But
You know,
Okay.
those
Uh-oh,
MFs
Mari's
need to be in
hands.
bed.
okay. Anyway, reminded me of a Samuel Jackson video. I can't say on this is too gross about get your blank to bed. I don't know if you ever heard it.
I
Is
think we can figure that out.
Samuel Jackson? Yeah, I'll find it on the YouTube, and it's.
I
it's
think I know what he's
it's-
talking about.
He's like, take your to bed. He's like, puts up the context is put the kids to bed, and then 5 seconds later, 5 minutes later, they're like staring at you up, and he's like, "Didn't I tell you to get your bed? Take your to bed."
Uh-oh,
Bed.
it's violent.
It's funny. It's really funny. It's really funny. But anyway,
Like Samuel Jackson.
yeah, really, he's a
Right.
role model there.
He is. He really is.
He really is outside of the take your
Oh,
blank
yeah.
to bed. He's really
Outside
a
of his
talented
language.
actor. I love all his he does well in all his movies, even if the movie itself isn't particularly award winning. He does his part. He brought his stuff to the table.
Yes, he did.
So,
Yes, he does.
yeah, he does. Yeah, he's still here now. Okay.
Yeah,
And
he's
so
good.
and
One more thing.
we knew that. That's why I kept talking. You're gonna do it as soon as I say
This is my
goodbye.
final statement. Rest in peace to rock guitar god Jeff Beck.
Oh, I heard about that, Jeff Beck.
Yeah, and Heisman Trophy winner and USC Trojan Charles White, one of the greatest college running backs in the history of football. And I'm not talking about soccer, what Europeans talk about. I'm talking about football, where
American
grown men
football.
hit each other hard, and where they don't flop over and pretend like they're having some kind of seizure. Real football. So
Okay,
rest in
thank you
peace,
for that.
Charles
Thank you
White.
for that clarification.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Represent.
Okay.
Peace.
Rest in peace, and to everyone who passed this year and last year and before. And so that's it. Please subscribe to Raising the Cane, and we have a website. You can listen to our podcast. And also, we're on different platforms like Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple, iHeart Radio, et cetera, et cetera, et
You
cetera.
too.
You can go on Facebook as well. So
You too.
we're on YouTube. And so share it with the family and friends and frenemies.
Yeah, and in
So-
fact, even people who you don't like.
Yeah, that's what I meant by frenemies.
Well, see, frenemy
Frenemies.
can be like a love-hate relationship. I'm talking about
Yeah, that,
people you want to smite.
okay,
Okay.
the smite. So
That's one of
anyway,
the themes of this show
so
is smite your enemies when you, well, while you
yeah.
can, before
So
they get
yeah,
you.
and so please, if you have any questions or want us to cover a topic and whatever, som@raisingthecane.com. So
And if-
that's it.
And if anything we
Yes.
said disturbs you or causes you nightmares or any dark feelings, call 988. I'm gonna call
Okay.
after we hang up here.
Okay.
So at any rate,
All right.
So at any rate, that's it. We're gonna say goodbye, especially.
Goodbye.
Adios.
That means hang up, Maurice. After this,
Arrivederci.
we're disconnected. So
Okay.
arrivederci.
Good
And until next
night.
time.
Bye.
Good night. Until next time.
Raise
Good
the
night.
cane.
Cane. That's right. Maurice is Captain America. God, he's a hero.